3.5 months, sometimes hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles traveled, countless buzzer beaters, big games, and unforgettable performances later, we have made it to the final game of the IHSA basketball season, the Class 4A state title from the State Farm Center in Champaign. The two teams playing tonight going for their first state title in program history. It's the Normal Community Ironmen and the Homewood-Flossmoor Vikings from the campus of the University of Illinois. Good evening, everyone. Hoping you're enjoying your great Saturday. It has been a fun day and a fun weekend of basketball. Jonathan Michael here in the booth alongside my great broadcast partner, John Camosa. John, this is such an honor to get to call games from the sideline here at the State Farm Center, and much less this is our first time calling the final game of the entire year across the entire state.
Yeah, it's really an honor to be here with you, John, and I always look forward to this. It's sad that the season comes to an end, but what better way to call the biggest game of the night in 4A, and this is going to be an exciting matchup, John. We'll break that down in a minute, but man, it's really fun to be here courtside with you and looking forward to this one.
Certainly, lots of people made the trip to Champaign, and obviously you already see lots of orange already in this arena, but lots of Normal Community orange in the stands as well. Normal only 45 minutes from Champaign. This is almost a home game for them. Homewood-Flossmoor, lots of red here supporting the Vikings as well. They have been quite the team from the southwest suburbs of Chicago. Great environment here, John. I know a lot of people from Central Illinois want the state tournament back in Peoria, myself being one of them. I still think that, Peoria is a great host, but, I mean, they get to play at the State Farm Center. Very cool venue. Home of the Fighting Illini. Every player in the state, I'm sure, watches Illinois, or most of them do at least. And it's just a really cool environment. Get to play in front of, thousands of fans here. Yeah,
a lot of players, talked about that earlier in the press conference, the 1A, 2A, 3A games. So, it's just so fun to go out here not only to win a state championship, but to play on the U of I court here at State Farm Center. So I think that's really neat, especially if they're fans of U of I. Come out here in the biggest stage and really let your play shine in front of your hometown fans. But John, let's break down Normal Community though and Homewood-Flossmoor, just how good these teams have been all season long.
Get right into it. Normal Community comes in at 32-5. Homewood-Flossmoor at 32-4. Nearly identical records between these two teams. Both have taken a little bit varying paths to get here. Normal Community was the #1 team in the state in the first AP poll of the season. High expectations placed on them because of so many of their big players, and quite literally big players. Homewood-Flossmoor, though, has been in the #1 spot for some time as well. They've gone back and forth between 1 and 2, but they have hardly lost at all to any teams in the state of Illinois this year.
No, they haven't. We'll start with the Ironmen of Normal Community. John, you talked about some of that size. Nico Newsome, 6'6" at guard. He's been one of the best defenders. Coach Dave Witzik said during this season, he's just really stepped even in the postseason. Braylon Roman, 6'4" guard. He's been a sharpshooter all season long. Noah Cleveland, 6'8" forward. And then don't forget the man in the middle, Jaheim Weber at 6'10". And then another player that comes off the bench, Kobe Walker at 6'10". This is the biggest team in the state.
This is certainly almost like seeing, some fans may remember, Glenbard West from 2 years ago. Team loaded with D1 commits, loaded with size. They ended up winning the state title back in Class 4A 2 years ago. Homewood-Flossmoor, they had some size as well, but again, that size isn't everything, but it certainly is something in Normal Community. Again, they're much more than just a big team. They are also athletic as well. They can move around. I asked Dave Witzik about that yesterday. He said, their defense has been huge because of their size. And he said that, we're big, that certainly helps, but we're just so athletic. The guys get to the right spots. And that's what people don't know about us, is because we're not just a bunch of big lunks in the paint.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be, a big key tonight for Normal Community is, Homewood-Flossmoor has some really good guards. You look at Gianni Cobb at 6 foot. He's a Columbia commit. Bryce Hurd, 6'6" guard. He's got 19 Division I offers right now, including Illinois here at State Farm Center, where he's going to be playing this game tonight. So, John, this Homewood-Flossmoor team, they are going to be a tremendous match for Normal Community in their size.
Certainly. Let's take a look at the Vikings season. Again, 2 of their 4 losses have come to out-of-state powers, teams that are maybe perhaps even on the national radar. They lost to Gonzaga High School out of Washington, D.C. A big loss for the Vikings there. Gonzaga won that game handily. That game really lit a fire under Homewood-Flossmoor, and from then on they played really, really strong. They won the Chicago Heights Classic to start the year. They won the prestigious Big Dipper tournament up near the suburbs as well. They went 19-1 in their first 20 games. Ran into some tough teams down the stretch. They ended their regular season on a loss to Bolingbrook, but John, sometimes losing that last game of the regular season can kind of ground you a little bit before the postseason starts.
Yeah, and they just ran into a gauntlet in the postseason here. To get here, let's start in the sectional where it really started to heat it up with some close contests. They beat Joliet West 68-66. Then they ran into Bloom Township in the sectional championship game. They handed them an 11-point loss. And then in the super sectional, that team that they bounce around with at 1-2 all year long, Chicago Curry, in the UIC super sectional, they won 60-58. So it was not easy getting here to Champaign.
Certainly not. You bring up a good point, John. Both teams have certainly earned their way here, but there's been a couple close games that they've had to survive to get here. Normal Community, a little over a week ago, almost seemed like their hope of being here and playing this game was gone. They were down 43-42 to Quincy with 4.3 seconds to go in the game. Quincy had the ball. All they had to do was inbound the ball, make some free throws, and the game would be over. Community season would be done. Well, that didn't happen. Quincy inbounded the ball, turned it over into the hands of Jaheim Weber, who threw down a almost buzzer-beating dunk to win the game. One of the craziest wins you'll ever see. Play went viral on social media. And fast forward a week later, Community is here after a dominant super sectional win over Downers Grove North.
Yeah, and to your point, John, that dunk that sealed their sectional title win, they almost were looking at a loss that would have ended their whole season. You turn and look at how that motivated going into the ISU super sectional, playing in front of a home crowd, dominated Downers Grove North 53-29. And then obviously to get here and win that semifinal game, playing for a state championship tonight, this should be a fun one. Dave
Witzig of Normal Community said, we're playing with house money right now because of that win against Quincy. Got a little favor there, and they've been having lots of fun along the way, as has Homewood-Flossmoor. Strap in, folks. This is going to be a great one. Glad you're with us here on ClutchSportsIL.com. Tell your friends and family to tune in, and let us know in the chat where you're tuning in. I know that we have at least one viewer tuning in from Palm Coast, Florida. I won't say who it is. I don't want to embarrass him, but I know we have lots of people tuning in. Glad you're with us here on CSM. Between two Class 4A powers, again, the final game of the regular season. Big student sections here. Homewood-Flossmoor, they wrap their arms around each other, swaying back and forth. Normal Community students decked out in all orange. All sorts of photographers out here at the floor. I mean, John, this is a media circus. This is the game that everyone has been looking forward to all day long. It has ramped up all the way up all day long from 1A, 2A, 3A, all the way up to this game, and there's going to be lots of energy reverberating throughout the State Farm Center.
Yeah, it's almost, leading up to that main event, we've seen some good games. Just saw DePaul College Prep over Mount Carmel in 3A, the game just before this, to win their second straight championship, going back to last year when they were in 2A, moving up to 3A this year, winning again. But, John, like you said, this one is the one I think everyone's had marked on their schedule since that Friday night semifinal matchup.
And, 4A has been loaded with so many good teams this year. There were a lot of teams that could have made it here. For example, Quincy wasn't far off from making here. You had Chicago Curie, obviously, who Homewood-Flossmoor had to beat. You had lots of other powers like Downers Grove North, Bolingbrook, but it is Community and it's Homewood-Flossmoor. They have proved to be the two strongest teams in the entire state, both looking for their first state title in school history. Let's take a look at their previous trips to state. Normal Community's last trip came in 2015. They advanced to the state title game, but then lost to Lincolnshire Stevenson, who now boasts NBA guard Jalen Brunson on that team.
Yeah, it's tough, anytime you lose to that. And, it took a long time to get back here, but they're finally here. Normal Community, obviously, they're looking for their first state title as well as Homewood-Flossmoor. So anytime you put in the hard work, play through November, December, shootouts, Christmas tournaments, you wanted to put that work in to get here, and both these teams have reached that pedestal to play for the state championship.
And as for Bolingbrook, the last time they made it to state, they were also in the state championship game. That came back in 2004. They faced a very familiar foe, at least to the central Illinois area, in Peoria High.
Yeah, and obviously anytime you run into Peoria High, it's a team that's been good for years and years and years, and just a tough game for them. But to get back to that road and finally make it here again, I think they're looking forward to this game. Not to mention, John, I don't know if we touched on this, Homewood-Flossmoor set the school record for wins this season with 32, so this is one of their best seasons they've had, and I'm sure they want to cap it off with the icing on the top of the cake with the state championship title.
Definitely two fantastic teams, two teams that are looking to make history again, both looking for their first state title. As Homewood-Flossmoor's starting lineup being introduced right now, they run out through a tunnel of players and cheerleaders donning their red and white striped warm-ups. Almost looks like the Indiana Hoosiers out there. Their starting lineup starts with Jaden Tyler, number 0, a 5'9" junior guard. He's been described as a steady leader. Then it's followed by number 1, Gianni Cobb, a 6-foot senior guard. Cobb, easily noticeable because of his curly, dyed blonde hair. It almost looks like he has ramen noodles on his head, John. He's quite the player, averaging over 15 points a game. Bryce Hurd, arguably the best player on their team. Number 2, a 6'6" junior guard. You mentioned earlier, John, a bevy of D1 offers, averaging nearly 17 points, over 6 rebounds a game. They'll be joined by Carson Brownfield, a 6'3" junior guard, and Donald Hagemeister, a 6'8" senior center. There's your starting 5 for the Homewood-Flossmoor Vikings. Community, their starting 5 will go like this. It starts with Nico Newsom, the 6'6" senior guard, I should say, recently committed to Saginaw Valley State, a Division II school. He'll be joined by Braylon Roman, one of the state's top uncommitted seniors, number 11 in white, a 6'4" senior guard who's receiving lots of mid-major interest and scored a team-high 19 last night. Third, it'll be Dexter Niekamp, the all-state football player, a 6'4" senior forward and a glue guy. And then to round it out, it'll be 2 more forwards. Noah Cleveland at 6'8" senior forward, did not play last year, returned to the team this year, has been a huge piece to them. And then the big man in the middle, you cannot miss him, Jaheim Weber, number 33, a 6'10" senior forward who's committed to play at Wright State.
Yeah, just a lot of size on this team. And like you said, Cleveland coming back to play this year, I think he was happy with that choice now that he's playing for a state championship. But it's going to be a fun matchup. Obviously, Normal Community has the upper hand with their size, but this guard play for Homewood-Flossmoor, I think that's going to create some problems as well. So it should be a really good game. I'm looking forward to this one, John.
Normal Community in their home whites with orange numbers and orange Ironman across the chest. Nike uniforms for them. Homewood-Flossmoor in their road red and whites. Homewood in a semicircle above the numbers. Flossmoor in a semicircle below their numbers. White numbers and white trim for them. As the stadium chant plays, the community student section jumping up and down. We are ready for the final tipped ball of the IHSA basketball season. John, what a ride it's been. We have one more game to decide. As the buzzer sounds, referees point to themselves. They're ready to go. The fans are ready to go. We're ready to go here on CSM. For the final time this year, let's play some basketball. It's Homewood-Flossmoor controlling the tip, and it's Jaden Tyler stepping into a 3 right away, and nothing but net.
That's one way to fire up your student section. Tyler wastes no time burying that 3.
3-0 Homewood-Flossmoor here to start things out. Tyler had a personal 10-0 run against Curie in the super sectional game. It's community now with it. They're going left to right in front of the Homewood-Flossmoor student section, bench, and cheerleaders. It's Roman with it at the top of the key, steps back for a 3 ball, and that one's good. Roman with the response, and he has been shooting out of his mind here in this postseason.
Both teams exchanging 3s, and if that's any indication how this game's going to go, I'd see it back and forth all night.
First minute of play, tied up at 3. Here's Tyler tying up another 3 ball. That one's good. It's a 3-point contest here in Champaign.
Jaden Tyler just feeling it right now. Steady leader for this Vikings team. That's how you get a crowd fired up. Tyler,
a 40% shooter from deep. He's already 2 for 2. Here's community working it over to Dexter Niekamp. They give him a little bit of space. Niekamp, not a huge 3-point threat, but can't knock him down. He shoots 21% behind the arc. Now Roman gives it back over to him. He's guarded at the moment by Carson Brownfield. Now it's Niekamp. He steps into a three. That one's off the mark, but Noah Cleveland had the board for a second, but then taken away by Jaden Tyler. Gianni Cobb calls for the ball, drives into the lane, blocked away by Weber and into the hands of Braylon Roman. He had 6 last night, and there's his first tonight. He will be swatting shots. Follow this one, John. Cleveland drives into the paint. Tough look, and he got it through contact, so Cleveland will shoot 2. 6-3 Homewood-Flossmoor with 6:12 left to go in the first quarter.
And that's going to be one thing for Homewood-Flossmoor's guards. He's not a player you could just go up on. He will swat that ball away almost every time he gets a chance at it. We've seen that all season long.
It's so hard to score on normal community in the post. I was going to say in the paint, in the post. I got caught up on my words there. Cleveland's first free throw is good, but again, you got Weber at 6'10", Cleveland at 6'8", Niekamp at 6'4", who plays a little bigger than his size. He's also very tough. He had a defensive end for Normal Community State semifinal football team this past year. Cleveland goes 2 for 2 at the stripe at 6'5" Vikings here in the first quarter. Then you have Kobe Walker on your bench at 6'10" as well. So no matter what rotation you have on the floor, you're going to have tough looks if you're inside of the arc, if you're any Normal Community opponent. Here's Cobb getting a screen, drives on the right side. Niekamp with defending. Here's Newsom with the defense now on Tyler, driving into the lane. He's guarded by Weber, dribbles back out, back over to Cobb, now to Bryce Hurd. Shot fakes on Cleveland, drives into the paint. Good defense from Weber to not foul, and Cleveland brings in the miss.
And Normal's going to want to push that tempo. Roman, now they play a set half, trying to get something going.
It's Weber with the ball, double team, finds Cleveland, gets it to go. Layup for Community. It's 7-6 Ironman with 5:26 to go here. Homewood-Flossmoor quickly the other way, and Weber tried to block Hurd, but instead he got his arm, and Hurd will shoot a pair at the stripe.
That's one thing. Both these teams, you can tell, like to play up-tempo basketball. I think early in this first quarter, any team that can try to get some momentum is going to be big.
Both teams yesterday, not much going in the first quarter for them in terms of grabbing a lead. Community and Palatine were tied at 13 all after the first frame, whereas Homewood-Flossmoor was down 5-4 after the first quarter yesterday, John. That was an ugly win for the Vikings, but still a win nonetheless.
Yeah, it's games like that that, kind of builds character, shows that, hey, that you could still pull out wins, persevere in low-scoring contests like that. You just never know what type of game you're going to see in the postseason.
Hurd, a 78% free throw shooter, misses both. It's Community ball with 5:15. They go cross court, taken away by Brownfield. He's in transition. Newsom with the defense. Brownfield lays it up with the left hand, and it's a Homewood-Flossmoor lead.
Nice takeaway there from Brownfield, able to soar for the layup. The junior guard.
Brownfield, a little bit of an underrated piece of Homewood-Flossmoor. Again, Cobb and Hurd get the big headlines, but Brownfield been a big option for them as well. They feed Weber in the post. Community does. Shot is no good. Rebound fought forward into the hands of Hurd. It's 8-7 Homewood-Flossmoor with 4:40 to go here in the first quarter from the State Farm Center in Champaign. Tyler working in on Braylon Roman. Now it's Hurd for 3. Got it to go. 3 triples for Homewood-Flossmoor in the first 4 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and even when they're contested, they can just bury those threes. It can be tough for the Ironmen to guard. You got to close out on them.
Niekamp finds Newsom in the corner. His 3 ball is good. 5 combined threes between these two teams, and quickly Homewood-Flossmoor the other way before you can blink. Cobb missed the layup, and Weber brings it in. It's Roman running the floor, stops near the free throw line, shoots off the back iron. Cleveland gets the rebound, puts it back in, and just like that, it's an Ironman lead, 12-11. Dave Winston screaming for a team to get back. Homewood-Flossmoor has been really pushing the pace in this game.
Yeah, neither team shying away from scoring points early in this game. It's been one of the more up-tempo first quarters we've seen all day, John.
John, honestly, I thought this game was maybe going to be more of a defensive battle. Usually these state games tend to be. This one's been lots of offense so far. 12-11, Community leads. They feed in the post into the hands of Hagemaster. His layup is good. Another lead change. It's Vikings up by 1 with 3:23 to go here in the first quarter. Roman will bring it up. Community shooting 4 for 7. Homewood-Flossmoor 5 for 8 to start. Here's Niekamp, the forward with the ball right now. Back to Cleveland, back to Niekamp. His second three ball, that one is off the mark. And brought in by Carson Brownfield. Brownfield drives in, kicks out to Hurd. Driving in on Cleveland, and on the blow block, kicks it back out. Brownfield's three from the wing is good.
They are just on fire right now from deep.
16-12 Homewood-Flossmoor lead. Roman now drives inside the arc, kicks it back out to Niekamp. Weber's on the low block. Newsom, though, shot fakes his three, gets past Brownfield. Mid-range look is no good. Weber brings in the miss, hits the deck. Back over to Newsom. His floater is good. A good response there and a nice play from Weber to Newsom.
Yeah, Weber just great effort on the ground with that ball and able to get to the assist to his teammate Newsom.
High-level play in this one so far. Very fast game. Not many stoppages, if any, at all so far. Approaching 2 minutes to play. Vikings lead 16-14. Gianni Cobb has it between the circles right now, guarded by Nico Newsom, who Dave Witzig again said, but a huge piece of their improved defense as of late. Kicks it back out to Tyler, the shortest player on the floor at 5'9". Now it's Brownfield near the top left part of the orange eye at half court. Brownfield drives into the paint on Weber, gets it up, but no good. And it's a Ironman rebound. It's Roman now driving in the other lane. Gets that one to go. Nice finish from Braylon Roman.
That little stutter step there. I should say Euro step there from Roman. That's his patented shot. Gets it to go, and we're tied.
1:25 to go in the first. We still have not had our under 4 media timeout. No stoppages since well over the 4-minute mark in this one. There's some subs that are patiently waiting to come in for community. That is Connor Smith and Kobe Walker. 16 all here in the first quarter. Fast-paced frame. Fadeaway look from Hurd, rims around and no good. That one took an entire trip around the tin. Roman brings in the miss. Nearly lost it and does. Here's Tyler at 5'9" with Cleveland closing in on him. Cleveland tipped it, but the follow is good by Hurd, and the foul. He lets out a scream of happiness there. He'll head to the line for a free throw.
That was great defense there from Cleveland, able to disrupt that shot, but then how about Hurd, able to follow it up with the and one.
What a wild first quarter here. It's the 18-16 Viking lead with 49 seconds to go. And Hurd will be shooting one at the line after this timeout. Hurd, a top 100 player in the country by most recruiting services. He helped give the Vikings a big lead at the start of the fourth quarter in that game against New Trier yesterday. Homewood-Flossmoor was actually down after the 3 quarters, but 5 quick points from Hurd to start the fourth got them going. And, this is, Hurd's just a junior. This won't be his final high school game, but, it's those big players like Cobb and Hurd, like Weber and Roman that, are just living for these moments for games like this.
Yeah, it's guys that can really step up and carry, and obviously both sides up and down these rosters for Normal Community and Homewood-Flossmoor are just talent, in your starting 5 on your bench, but really guys that can just give you huge games. Bryce Hurd, Johnny Cobb, and then on the Ironman side with Braylon Roman and Gene Weber, just some of your catalysts, these guys that just give you great games night in and night out.
For Homewood-Flossmoor, there are 2 big players, obviously 2 guards. Normal Community plays a little bit more through their forwards, but we certainly can't rule out a big game from Braylon Roman or Nico Newsom. Roman had 19 yesterday that led all scorers in their 58-38 win over Palatine. I don't think we've talked about much about that game, John. Pretty close at the half. Community led 27-22 at the intermission. But it was all Ironman in that second half. Their size was a huge factor, and the Pirates just never had a chance, really, after the break.
Yeah, that game was close for a while, and then once Normal Community really got going there, John, it was all Ironman and 58-38 win, and Gene Weber with the double-double. I think that size just really suffocated Palatine's offense there, and Ironman stepped up big on defense, and that turned to offense for them in a big win. So I think they really wanted to reach that stage to get here back to the state championship.
Hot shooting quarter for both teams. The Vikings are 7 of 13, and Normal Community is 6 of 11 so far. Homewood-Flossmoor has made all 4 of their 3-pointers. A couple of them coming from Jaden Tyler, 1 from Hurd, and 1 from Brownfield. Hurd's other free throw's no good, so Hurd 0 for 3 from the line to start. You don't see that too often. 2-point deficit. Community could tie or take the lead. Connor Smith and Kobe Walker into the game. The 6th and 7th men for the Ironmen. It's Smith over to Roman behind the arc. Substitution for Homewood-Flossmoor as well. Jacoby McNeil, a forwards, into the game. Ironmen turn it over, 23 seconds to go. Brownfield crosses half court. Clears out a teammate. Now it's Hurd, guarded by Noah Cleveland, whose brother Zach Cleveland plays for Liberty University. Was a star in the orange and white a couple years ago. Tyler, another 3 ball. He got fouled, and they'll shoot 3 with 6.4 to go here in the first quarter. As a coach, John, it drives you bonkers fouling on a 3-point attempt, much less to be one of the last shots to end the quarter.
Yeah, not what you want to see if you're a head coach, and a 2-point game can easily turn here to 5, should say 6.
Vikings still looking for their first free throw make. They went 11 of 16 yesterday from the stripe, as Tyler's first is good. How about this, John? New Trier, who obviously the Vikings beat yesterday, did not score from the free throw line at all. They didn't even attempt a free throw yesterday.
That just goes to show you that Homewood-Flossmoor's defense, they face guard you without drawing that contact. Pretty incredible feat, though. I can't remember the last time I've heard of that happening in
no
a state
kidding.
game.
In any game, really,
Yeah.
for that matter, and much less on the state stage. As Homewood-Flossmoor students break out the "We Can't Hear You" chant. Now the Ironman student section, the Iron Invasion, comes alive. Tyler goes 3 for 3 at the mark, or at the stripe. 21-16 Homewood-Flossmoor lead. Some confusion on who's inbounding for community. It will be Connor Smith, the junior. Nearly turned over into the hands of Hurd, but it's Cleveland up ahead to Roman, and a foul at half court. And Roman got decked in the face by an elbow from Caleb Chavers, and Roman is down in some pain right now. He took one to the face.
Yeah, it did not look good, John. And just both players collided there right at half court. Kind of ring your bell.
I don't know if I love that chant for Homewood-Flossmoor chanting, "He is a baby." We were right here at the front row. He took one to the right to the face.
And that was coming at full speed too.
Yeah, I don't know. Not the biggest fan of that chant there. But it will be community inbound with 1.8 to go. They get it to Roman. Step back, look behind the arc. Nearly got it to fall. Hit the rim and bounced out. It's Homewood-Flossmoor 21 and Normal Community 16 after 8 minutes of play here at the State Farm Center. Very high-powered quarter for both halves offensively. And, you know, John, that might favor Homewood-Flossmoor just a bit more. They've won a couple more of those games, scoring some pretty big point totals so far this year.
Yeah, and good first quarter there for Flossmoor, able to hit some big threes early in the quarter, and then obviously to close it out with those free throws, and just solid defense on the Ironman's interior post with Weber, Cleveland, and Walker.
Of note, Normal Community has not allowed more than 60 points since a game against Lyle Bennett back on January 27th, so their defense has just been elite this season. Obviously, you know, due in part to their length and their athleticism, but, you know, looking at the what we call the tail of the tape, the averages for both squads. Normal Community averages a hair over 57 a game. They give up about 43. Homewood-Flossmoor scores 66 points per game and gives up about 54. So they've played more of these little bit more high-scoring games. Community has been in a couple more dogfights than they have, more than the Vikings have as of late. But Dave Witzig said earlier in the week that we're a team that can win any type of game. We can win in a track meet, we can win in a defensive battle, and you know, obviously, even though you're down 5, it's a more offensively favored game. You know, the community is still right in this game. They've got some good looks to go, and good shooting from them as well. They haven't been just in the post.
No, they haven't, and I think, you know, obviously being battle tested this year with one of the toughest schedules really helps them out when you get to these games. And, you know, I think they're going to try to go down more to Weber, maybe try to get Cleveland some more looks inside. But the biggest thing right now is defense. Having to close out on those guards when they're shooting threes.
9 points from Jaden Tyler of the Vikings in the first quarter. Noah Cleveland leading Normal Community with 6 right now. Also leads them on the glass with 3 boards. And, Community did a pretty good job rebounding in that first quarter, John, but also got to give props to Homewood-Flossmoor. A couple times that looked like Community would grab an offensive board. They were flat in there and at least made it a 50-50 ball. So I think they'll have to do more of that, because otherwise, if they don't put up much of a fight, then Community might grab 2/3 of the rebounds in tonight's game.
Yeah, and obviously we saw that with Flossmoor doing a good job, because any team that we've seen this year, John, whether it be in person or highlights, they're going to disrupt shots in the post. That's no question. Normal Community's done that. And even today, in that first, I should say tonight in that first quarter, we saw a couple blocks there, but Flossmoor was right there to follow it up, and that's those second chance points that you need if you're a team that are going to win you state championships.
Ready to go here for half number 2. It'll be Ironman ball. It'll be Dexter Niekamp to inbound it to Braylon Roman. Both of Community's bench players, Connor Smith, Kobe Walker, still in the game. It's Cobb, Hurd, Tyler, McNeil, and Caleb Chavers in the game for Homewood-Flossmoor. Chavers knocked down 2 clutch free throws yesterday as we get a foul on Kobe Walker in the paint. Chavers doesn't even average a point per game, averages 0.5 per game, but knocked down 2 big free throws to seal the win against New Trier yesterday with 3 seconds left to go. Here's Smith, inbound pass from the corner, got knocked down after the shot, no foul was called. And it'll be Homewood-Flossmoor ball with 7:40 to go in the second.
Yeah, I think Smith was trying to sell that one, look for a foul, but Flossmoor, a big opportunity here to extend the lead early in the second quarter.
It's Cobb with the ball. Again, that curly blonde hair makes him easily noticeable, and any Jimmy steps in, if you follow basketball across the state of Illinois, you'll probably know when Gianni Cobb is on the floor. Here's Brownfield, dribbling it out. Looks like Vikings are content to run a little clock here. Brownfield drives, though, into the side of the arc. Nice feed from Cobb to McNeil. Lost it off of his leg. Turnover by the Vikings.
Good closeout defense there from Weber. McNeil just unable to corral that one underneath the basket for the Vikings.
Normal Community student section, I just noticed lots of players run in front of them, our view all game long, but every single seat in that student section is filled. Community is a school of about 2,096, and there's probably a little over 100 lucky to sit in the student section. But you look at the top, the upper deck here is Ironman turn it over with 6:50 to go here. Almost all orange. You look around you, a 360 view with your head, almost all orange in the upper deck. This is almost a home game for the Normal Community Ironman. What a crowd that they've brought today. Here's a 3 ball on the way by Flossmoor, no good. Noah Cleveland skies for the board.
And only about an hour trip for folks back in Normal, so they came out in full force here to support the Ironman.
It's Newsom with it on the wing, guarded tightly by Chavers. Back up top to Cleveland, over to Roman. Behind the perimeter, they kick it over to Niekamp in the corner. Now down to Weber. Kicks it back out to Newsom, who lost it off of his knee. Retains it. Ball is fought for, tipped out by the Vikings. A little of a bang-bang call. A nice job by the official, who's right there in front of it. Neither team has scored in the second quarter. 6:16 to go. It's Homewood-Flossmoor 21, Normal Community 16. And lots of lead changes so far in this one. In fact, there's been 4 of them, with long to go with 2 ties. It's Roman on the wing by the State Farm logo. Drives in, step back jumpers off the mark. Rebound, fought for, ball on the ground. A scrum, who's got it? It's Homewood-Flossmoor. We get a foul on the deck. Looks like it's going to go against Community. Tough break there for the Ironman. They don't get the ball and they pick up a foul in the process.
It's a physical game back and forth, but clean, but both teams getting after it on the floor.
I think that foul was called on Jaheim Weber. That's his second, so Weber will take a seat. Obviously a big shot blocking presence out, but again, put another 6'10" big man in there, Kobe Walker. What a luxury Dave Witzig has. Is Brownfield with it at the top of the key. Now over to Hurd on the wing for three. That one's good. 8-point Viking lead. 5:45 to go in the second. 24-16. That's Hurd's second three of the ball game.
How about Bryce Hurd so far in this game? 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists.
He's been getting it done. A tough look for Roman is no good. Batted around, and the rebound goes to the Vikings. Here's Brownfield in transition. Layup was no good, but they're going to get Nico Newsom for a foul. Lots of contact as Brownfield nearly slid into the front row of photographers. Vikings students and fans have lots of energy right now, John. They're starting to feel like they can gain control of this game.
I think anytime you can get that early lead, especially in the second quarter, try to pull away a little bit, the crowd comes to life, get behind you. Gotta like where they're at right now.
Brownfield at the stripe is a 68% free throw shooter. He missed the first shot. Brownfield from the field struggled yesterday, went 0 for 5, but still put up a couple points from the free throw line. He's a team captain for Homewood-Flossmoor. Second free throw is good, so it's 25-16, Vikings lead in the first half here from Champaign. Class 4A state title game, the last game across the entire state of the year. After this, they'll hibernate the Pumpkins for about 8 months or so. Walker in the paint, missed the shot for Community, and it's another Vikings rebound. Brownfield drives in, kicks out, Hurd. Three ball on the way, no good. Almost went back in after hitting the rim.
I think the place would have went wild on the Homewood-Flossmoor side if that one went in.
Smith gives it over to Niekamp, and Homewood-Flossmoor's been letting Niekamp shoot. He doesn't shoot it there. Niekamp more of a forward, more of a glue guy. Roman driving into the paint. Triple team kicks back out to Connor Smith. Three ball on the way, off the bank and in.
If the bank's open, right, John?
25-19, big shot there from Connor Smith off the bench. He's hit some big shots. Smith, a transfer from Rantoul, not far from Champaign here, just about 15 minutes up the interstate.
Yeah, just a glue player for Normal Communities. Had so many big games as a role player, some big shots, great defense.
He's going to be a big player next year as well. Brownfield's look from the free throw line goes down. It's back to an 8-point lead for Homewood-Flossmoor, 27-19, halfway through the second quarter. And Smith being from Rantoul, not the only community tie to the Champaign area. Head coach or assistant coach LeConte Nix, former Champaign Central head coach. Conference made of the Normal Community in the Big 12. Here's Smith with it on the wing. Cross court over to Cleveland and read perfectly by Hurd. He's in the fast break, slams it down with one hand. A tomahawk from Bryce Hurd, and it's a 10-point Homewood-Flossmoor lead, 29-19. And Shaver slaps the floor. They can feel it now.
Yeah, they're fired up after that dunk.
Hurd just cocked it back and threw it down. Newsom had, or Roman rather, had the defense. It wasn't a poster, but it's still a big slam, and Roman responds with a floater from about 12 feet out on the other side. He makes it 29-21, 3:13 left in the second quarter.
And Normal Community hanging around. Those are the shots you need to try to get your foot back in the door.
Roman just seems like a player for community that is keeping the team on his back right now. It's Hagemaster in the paint for Flossmoor. His hook shot was no good, brought in by Cleveland. Pass up to Smith in the corner. Quick trigger three ball is an air ball.
Yeah, just a quick shot in transition. Couldn't get it to go.
Pass to Hagemaster was chipped. It will save Vikings ball as we get our media timeout. 2:45 to go in this game, John. Still has retained that really fast pace to it, that track meet style in this one.
Yeah, not a lot of stoppages, not a lot of foul calls, just both teams going out there playing at a very quick pace.
Homewood-Flossmoor shot a bit better than Community. They're 10 for 19. Normal Community 8 for 20. Bryce Hurd leads all scorers with 10 points right now, and this is the first time I've really seen Hurd play, at least in person, John, and he's really been the real deal. I mean, he just looks so comfortable on the floor. He just looks like he has that demeanor that he knows he's the best player on the floor right now.
Yeah, it's really no surprise that he has 19 Division I offers, maybe even more after this game, but he's really just asserted his dominance in this lineup all season long, and as one of the team's leading scorers, that's that guy you need as a junior to really step up and shine, and he's been doing every bit of that here in the first half.
Not only a leading scorer, leading rebounder as well with 6.3 per game, and he's just a guard that is really going to be a big gift to whichever school he commits to, because he's got really good size for a guard as well. And you look at Normal Community side, they have Nico Newsom obviously playing at the next level, great size for a guard. Maybe not even play maybe a little bit small forward as well sometimes. But Braylon Roman, a player that a lot of schools around Central Illinois are looking at right now, one of the state's top unsigned seniors, that at 6'4", a guard with some length that plays good defense, can make shots from all three levels. A lot of teams looking at him, including Bradley and Illinois State. Yeah,
wherever Roman ends up, they're getting a great player, whether it be Bradley ISU or another school outside of the state of Illinois. But yeah, just a key player, a guy that can not only score it even when he has games where he's not scoring, he can play defense, get you assists, just does all the little things, and been a really talented player for Coach Dave Witzig.
Obviously, as many of our listeners probably know, Illinois State University, right in Normal's backyard. There already is one of those Ironmen that's going to Illinois State, but it's for football. That's Dexter Niekamp. His father is the defensive coordinator for the Redbirds football team, and his brother Ty also on the Illinois State football team as well. So Niekamp family runs deep with the Redbirds. It's Homewood-Flossmoor inbound. It's Brownfield now at the top of the key. Behind the arc, setting things up. He's guarded by Niekamp. He's got Cobb to his left. Now Brownfield drives in, lost the handle on it, and it goes back to the Ironman.
That's the turnover Normal Community needed. Good defense there.
Well, a substitution. And Nico Newsom checks in for Dexter Niekamp. So Ironman going a little bit small here. They still have the 6'8 Cleveland, the 6'10 Walker on the floor, but they got three guards in Smith, Newsom, and Roman. It's Walker behind the arc, gives it over to Roman. Now Walker comes over to set the screen. Roman gives it back over to Cleveland. Now it's Newsom on the opposite wing. Back to Walker. Pivots near the free throw line. Back out to Smith. Back to Walker in the paint. Turned around, look too strong, and Brownfield brings in the miss. It's Hurd back over Brownfield. Wide open three ball, rims out. Rare miss there for the Vikings.
And still Weber on the bench with those two fouls, so Normal Community is going to have to try to take advantage. We might not see him until after halftime.
And no coach wants to risk putting their best player out there with two fouls. We saw Morez Johnson of Harvey Thornton earlier this week get two early fouls, and he had to sit. And Newsom just ran into a brick wall of Mac Hagemaster, just bounced right off of him. The ball rocketed out of bounds. It'll stay Normal Community ball. 1:39 to go. It's 29-21. Homewood-Flossmoor leads. Smith will trigger the inbound. Looks for Walker. Needs to get it in. Nearly a 5-second call. Gets into Newsom. Ball was challenged for. It will stay with the Normal Community Ironman after it goes on the bounce.
Well, let's talk about Hagemaster for Homewood-Flossmoor. A guy that doesn't average a lot of points, 2.6, but he is just that anchor in the middle for the Vikings. He's guarding some of the best guys down low for Normal Community right now.
It's Connor Smith with it. He's knocked down that 1-3 earlier. Normal Community's leading scorer right now is Roman with 7. Newsom behind the arc gives it over to Roman. Back to Smith. Now Walker in the high post. Guarded by the much smaller Tyler, but Tyler trying to take it away. We're going to get a tie-up and a jump ball. That favors Homewood-Flossmoor. Nice job by Tyler. A foot shorter than Kobe Walker, but I think that maybe helped him out a little bit. They were just taking that ball right out from under him.
Yeah, just disrupted that. Able to get the jump ball back to Homewood-Flossmoor here. Big opportunity, John. They could extend this to double digits.
They led by as much as 10 after that dunk from Bryce Hurd. Not much scoring in the second quarter. Is 21-16 Homewood-Flossmoor after one. It's 29-21 Vikings right now. So they hold a 8-5 advantage here to the second quarter. Cobb, a floater from the free throw line, is up and good. There's Cobb's first bucket of the game.
31-21 now, biggest lead of the game for Homewood-Flossmoor. Their offense has just really been clicking.
Certainly helps with Jaheim Weber on the bench with 2 fouls. Marcus Russell, a junior guard, into the game for Normal Community. Don't see him too often, but he is on the floor. He's got the ball with it. Vikings giving him some space. Now it's Roman, guarded by Tyler. Good defense on ball from Tyler. Feed to Walker in the high post. Shot no good. Roman brings in the miss, and he got fouled. And it'll be the second on the Vikings, as Russell will check back out for Community, and Newsome will come back in. Newsome's got 2 fouls, so that's something to keep an eye on as well. That's probably why Russell got in there, to keep Newsome out of foul trouble. Community ball with 25.8 to go, facing their largest deficit of the game. It's 31-21 Vikings. Smith inbounds it to Cleveland, spins around, gets past Cobb. Now he's got Hurd on him, spinning around in the paint. Tough turnaround look, nearly went down. Walker the offensive board and puts it back in.
It's a good putback there from Walker.
Now it's Cobb speeding across half court, slows it back down. Back to Tyler, a deep 3 ball is too strong. Walker brings in the miss, 6 seconds left to go. Chance for a final shot for Community. Newsome gets a pass, a deep 3 ball at the horn. Almost went down and banked off the glass, off the rim and out, but nearly went down. And we've reached halftime. It's Homewood-Flossmoor, the #1 ranked team in Class 4A, 31, and Normal Community, #6 ranked team in Class 4A, 23.
Yeah, what an exciting first half, and that'd have been a huge momentum shift there for Community had Newsome get that 3 to go, but man, Flossmoor really came out to play here in this game in the first half, 31-23 lead, and can't say enough about Bryce Hurd, John.
It's so often in these postseason games that, you know, with the best of the best are left, only the best are left. You know, obviously the first half is certainly important, but you know that Homewood-Flossmoor probably doesn't feel comfortable with the 8-point lead. Maybe their fans, students might right now, but I'm sure their head coach Jameer Dismukes in his second year telling his guys, we got to come out with a 0-0 mindset in the second half. And also the same thing for Normal Community. They got to pretend like even though you're only down 8, maybe have the mindset, hey, we're down 15 or we're down 20. We got to really fight to get back in this one because Homewood-Flossmoor is going to give them some good offense, obviously, in that second half as well.
Yeah, and I think Normal Community, Coach Dave Witzig, know this game is far from over. You know, obviously you're going to give them a halftime talk, try to get that offense going. And then a big factor to look for, John, didn't see a whole lot of Jaheim Weber in that tired second quarter, so that's going to be putting your best player out there again to start the second half. So we'll see some adjustments, I'm sure, from the Ironmen, but man, what a good first half so far.
Really been high-level basketball. Not surprised to see these two teams in the Class 4A state title. Normal Community's road to get here. We talked about Homewood-Flossmoor's road early at the top of the broadcast. They had some big wins in the playoffs. They had a 2-point win over Joliet West. They beat a very good Bloom Township team, the Blazing Trojans, 61-50 in the Rich Township sectional title game. And then again, that 2-point win over Chicago Curie, who was the #2 team in the state by a very slim margin this season. Normal Community, they had to take I'd argue that they had a little bit of a tough road here. They had to play Rock Island, Moline, Quincy, and Downers Grove North. I believe that Downers Grove North and Quincy were the only state-ranked teams, but Rock Island and Moline, two teams that aren't pushovers by any means either, and Community won both games by double digits.
So
Ironmen looking for their first ever state title in boys basketball. They have 16 state trophies across all sports, 3 state titles across all sports. 2 of them are in softball, one of them is in football, and 2 years ago, Community had a very, very good team that looked like they might be able to make it to Champaign, but they lost in the sectional title game. I believe it was to Quincy, if I'm not mistaken. That team finished, I believe, 33-2. Yeah. That was a great season for David Witzig, but again, just fell short. And you know, I think David Witzig, there's hardly any better guys in the business than him. And you know, obviously same thing with Jameer Dismukes as well. But obviously, we know David Witzig a little bit more, and you know, he's been coaching the community for a long time, 25 years, over 500 wins. Yeah, I think he certainly, you know, feels like the community is due for a state title.
Yeah, obviously, you know, when you put in 25 years of coaching, you want to get there ultimately and win the state championship. And John, you mentioned the Ironmen had that good team, Zach Cleveland. At the time, Noah Cleveland's brother, just a few years back, thought that would have been the year for the Ironmen to get there, knocked out by Quincy. This year, I think it was refreshing for them to, take down Quincy in the final seconds, kind of get over that hurdle, and then ultimately get to this game. With all the size they had, they've been kind of on center stage since November. I think they knew all along, hey, we have the talent and the height for what it takes to win a state championship, and I think they know how big this second half will be here in about 10 minutes.
Certainly, and obviously, Normal Community has that size, and on paper it looks like, okay, well, basketball is, ever since its inception, been a game where it favors taller players. But Homewood-Flossmoor have proven that height is something, but it's not everything. They lead 31-23 here at the halftime break. Glad you've all joined us on ClutchSportsIL.com. Class 4A state title game from Champaign. Audio only broadcast, obviously. I'm sure most of our listeners know, but in case you don't, obviously the IHSA is the only streaming rights for this game. No one else can stream it, at least video broadcast. So audio only today, but obviously glad you're all with us here on CSM. Perhaps maybe you're in the car, or maybe perhaps working potentially. There's some people that work on Saturdays. Obviously we're working right now, but this is pretty fun work, John. This is what we look forward to all year long. I mean, what a year it's been, just covering high school basketball around the area. I mean, it's certainly gone by very fast, but also it feels like it's gone on forever at the same time as well. Maybe what are some of your favorite memories from this season?
Well, first of all, I'll start with your point, John, of just how quickly this goes. It feels like we were at the TOC not that long ago in Washington during November, and then you fast forward here, we're sitting in the last game of the year. But some great memories. I'd say TOC, obviously that's top of the list because it's always fun just having a week full of basketball over the Thanksgiving holiday. Let's see, Metamora, playing Morton. That was a game that I covered for you guys. That was an exciting game. Morton Potters just had an unbelievable year in 3A. They snapped Metamora's 23-game-long Middle Illini winning streak. We saw Richwoods play a great game just the other night. But, so many good teams this year, and, just really nice to kind of see one in our coverage area, Normal Community, be playing in this last game.
Certainly, and they're kind of putting Central Illinois on their back right now. Lots of people. I think most people outside of Chicago probably rooting for Normal Community. Obviously, a lot of people rooting for Homewood-Flossmoor as well. If you're rooting for the Vikings, I'm glad you've tuned in as well and found our coverage, and glad you're listening tonight. But obviously it was the same with Richwoods yesterday. Richwoods kind of felt like they were the Central Illinois representative in Class 3A, and they were kind of just putting on for the region, so to say. And same with Normal Community as well. Again, a team that it's tough for a 4A team like Community to always be going up against Chicago teams, and I think that's why Community they've been so good for so long. They just haven't gotten to that state title because they've been facing schools from Chicago that have obviously Community is a big school, but they have thousands and thousands of kids and very deep pools of talent. It's really good to see a community like Normal and obviously the Bloomington area as well, be able to compete with those teams from Chicago.
Yeah, certainly, and we've seen the schedule that they play this year, just some loaded teams, and you look back at some of the teams that made the longest run. In our coverage area, Illini Bluffs obviously, losing to a state champion there in West Central, and then Richwoods ultimately, their semifinal loss was to Chicago DePaul Prep, who won a state championship today. So I think for the area teams that made the longest run, nothing to hold their head on. Lost to the best teams in the state. Normal Community obviously wants to try to come out and show that they are the best in this state, by topping the #1 team. But it's going to take a big second half, see what kind of adjustments they make, and try to assert Jaheim Weber more in the rotation.
Weber was held scoreless in that first half, grabbed 2 rebounds, had 2 assists, played with 2 fouls for a little bit as well, and sat with some foul trouble. But right now we're going to bring in our Owen Dimful, who's been covering the game. He'll be just helping us out with our writing coverage, social media as well. Owen's been watching the game from the media boxes behind one of the baskets here, one of the best views in the house. And we'll turn it over to you to chop it up with John about what you've seen from this first half between Homewood-Flossmoor and Normal Community. Vikings lead by 31-23.
Yeah, thank you, John. It's been a great first half of a really big game between 2 really good opponents. Both teams really getting after, especially in that first quarter. It was a very high-paced, high-scoring affair in that first quarter. Second quarter kind of slowed down a little bit, saw a little bit more defense, but still very exciting first half.
And what do you see out of Homewood-Flossmoor right now, Owen? Obviously, they've been clicking on all cylinders. What type of defense adjustments does community have to make to try to limit Bryce Hurd beyond the arc?
Well, they're going to have a hand in his face almost at all times. I mean, he's been able to just pop threes left and right and really lead the Vikings' offensive attack. You can't forget about, who is it? I think Gianni Cobb. He was one of the better players coming into this game as the Columbia commit. He didn't really have much of a first half because he didn't need it. His team really kind of bounced around him and found scoring in other ways.
Yeah, I think when you look at those three guards that the Vikings have with Jadon Tyler, Gianni Cobb, and Bryce Hurd, really kind of a dynamic three players out there on the court at all times, not only with their offense but with their defense. So how does community try to have to slow that down between, let's say, Newsome, Roman, and guys like Niekamp as well?
It's going to have to be sticky coverage. You got to follow them everywhere they go on that court, no matter if they're behind the three-point arc or if they're traveling baseline. No matter where you go, you got to follow them closely. Don't give them an opportunity to get the ball and shoot. But you got to – sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
And it's going to be a team effort. They did kind of a good job closing the paint other than like some transition fast breaks. But other than that, they've been able to force the outside shots. But the Vikings have been able to do a great job making their outside shots.
I think kind of the unsung hero, too, now that John and I talked about, that it's not going to light up a box score for you, but does all the dirty work, is Matt Hagetmaster. He's been on Jaheim Weber. He's been on Kobe Walker, and also, put a body on Noah Cleveland as well. So I think it helps having a guy out there with his size that kind of limits some of that size for a normal community down low, because you look on paper, they might not match up with that, post play.
You definitely mentioned it, John. It's the size is the name of the game when it comes to normal community. I was broadcasting the game yesterday against Palatine, and it was very obvious that they had the clear size advantage and dominated that game. Now kind of going up against some players that can sort of match the height. Not entirely, but they're right there, close enough to, battle them. And it's obviously affecting it, because now we're seeing an 8-point deficit for normal community that they haven't really seen much of.
Yeah, and normal communities obviously had to battle some adversity this year. They've been down in games, but if you're Coach Dave Witzig, Owen, just your opinion, where do you want to cut this game to? I mean, you obviously want to get down by maybe 4 or 5 here within the first couple minutes, just to feel like the game's not slipping away from you.
Yeah, I mean, any deficit that you can cut is going to be, obviously advantage towards you. But the main thing I would like to see out of the Ironmen is that kind of limiting their turnovers. They didn't turn it over as much, but they were kind of crucial that led to quick points for the Vikings. I think they had 6 points off the turnovers. So right there, those 6 points, it would only be a 2-point difference. So kind of clean up those turnovers, figure out the offense, and you'll find a way to be back in this game here in the second half.
Yeah, and the Vikings, too, with some second chance points there in the first half, which really helped add to the lead. And just doing a good job interior, getting to the basket. Normal community's drawn some contact, obviously, which put them at the line for the Vikings. But should be an exciting first half, Owen. And what are you kind of looking forward to with both teams here?
I'm honestly looking forward to some more defense throughout the game. As I said, it was very high-paced, high-scoring first quarter, and then it slowed down. Me and Michael Savoy were talking up there saying that both teams are going to kind of come back down to earth. So I expect to see that going forward, and I expect to see Jaheim Weber start making more of an impact in this game. He was very quiet, picked up 2 early fouls, and so I think they're going to have him get going if they want to come back into it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, well, thank you, Owen. Thanks for hopping down here, giving me a little breather in the booth. Calling you state title games is always fun. It also takes a lot out of you, certainly. Yeah. And I want to thank Owen and all the rest of our CSM crew for helping us out this week. They've done fantastic work. Owen's is kind of being a jack of all trades today, helping us out writing and also on social media. Michael Savoy will have the game story from this one. You can read that on Clutch Sports Media Overtime. Subscribe today. There you see there at the bottom corner of your screen. ClutchSportsIL.com/overtime, the home of all of our written content. It's a subscription gets you access to everything, including photo galleries as well. Our Brock Engel has been on the sidelines snapping some fantastic photos. He is really talented behind the camera, and he'll be having probably at least 30 or 40 very high-quality pictures from this game. And we also have Kenny Clifton, Ethan Genders, A.J. Hollins all shooting video from this game. We'll have some video recaps and highlight tapes from this game also on our social media. You can follow us at Clutch Sports Media on Facebook and Instagram, and at Clutch Sports IL on Twitter. Ready for the second half to start. Quick scoring or a quick stat update from the first half. Homewood-Flossmoor shoots 11 of 22, 50% mark, and 5 for 9 behind the three-point line. They go 4 for 8, a 50% mark at the free throw line. Normal Community shot 9 for 25, good for 36%, 3 for 9 behind the arc. They started out hot and then kind of cooled off a little bit. 33% obviously behind the arc, and then 2 for 2 from the line. Community's committed 5 turnovers, leading to 6 of Vikings points. Homewood-Flossmoor committed 2 turnovers, and Normal Community has not converted those into any points. Ironmen hold a 16-13 rebound advantage and a 6-0 second chance points advantage as well. Normal Community 12 points in the paint to Homewood-Flossmoor's 10. And we're ready to go here in half number 2. It's community basketball going now right to left in front of their own bench and student section. They swing it around. Niekamp over to Braylon Roman. 31-23 is your score. Homewood-Flossmoor in the lead. Cobb nearly took it away from Roman, who drives in, kicks it out. Newsom three ball right in front of us is just off the mark. Rebound brought in by Gianni Cobb. Going down the floor, layup was no good. Altered by a community defender, and it's back to the Ironmen.
Tough shot there for McNeil. Kind of lost the handle, and Community looking for some points here.
Cleveland dials up a 3. That one is no good. Looks like we might have a three-point shooting barrage from both sides. It's Tyler, as I say it, knocks one down for Homewood-Flossmoor. They lead by 11. It's 34-23. Homewood-Flossmoor's continued to make threes, and Normal Community hasn't been able to continue that early game success they had after Roman knocked down a couple early ones, as well as Nico Newsom. He's got it now at the top of the key. Here's Niekamp feeding Weber on the low block. Double teamed. Weber trying to go the baseline, looking for space, and they say he traveled.
I think the thing that makes Homewood-Flossmoor so tough, John, is they don't really get in a half-court set and bury these threes. They kind of come down in transition and just pull up pretty quick. Just a dynamic team, and they've really showed their dominance so far.
I think they've been controlling the tempo so far. They've been wanting to play fast, and this game has been very fast for the most part. Here's Brownfield back over to Cobb, near half court, guarded tightly by Nico Newsom. Newsom did a great job on Cobb in the first half, limiting him to 2 points, but Cobb got fouled on the drive. It's going to be a push, I believe, on Noah Cleveland. Or no, that's going to be on Nico Newsom. That's Newsom's third, John. With 6:29 to go in the third quarter. Vikings lead by 11. Tyler kicks back out to Bryce Hurd, guarded by Cleveland. No substitution, ready to check in for Newsom, so he's going to be playing with 3 fouls here. Good confidence shown by Dave Witzig. Floater by Brownfield, nothing but net. And Homewood-Flossmoor leads at 36-23 with 6 to play in the third quarter.
Their offense just has not slowed down one bit. Community looking for an answer here.
Cleveland in the paint. Kicks it over and taken away by Brownfield. A tough look, or a tough pass, and Brownfield just was right in front of Weber and took it away. Vikings basketball, they'll slow things down. It's Tyler. Now Connor Smith heads to the scorer's table to check in, assumingly for Newsom. Tough look from Tyler. No, he passed it off. Down there to Jacoby McNeil. Now Brownfield will slow things down. He's played a really good game so far. Drives in on Niekamp. Now goes back out. Vikings in a position, John, where they don't, certainly no one wants to see them run the clock, but they can wait for a good shot. Cobb's shot, though, is off the mark. Community brings it the other way. It's Newsom with it. Goes behind the back. Now goes over to Braylon Roman. 5:10 to go. They feed Weber. He's triple teamed. Turns around. Barely draws the iron. Rebounded by Hurd, and we're going to get a reach-in foul either on Cleveland or Newsom. I believe it's on Cleveland.
Yeah, and still no points for Weber, but John, we've seen how hard they're making it on him down low with the triple team there almost every time he touches.
Weber's had 2 assists today. He can pass it well for a big man. He also had 3 assists yesterday as well. So, Jaheim Weber, more of your traditional post player. Not going to really extend the floor too much, but he can pass it pretty well. He's been having to do so today. Just 0 for 2 from the field. That foul going on Noah Cleveland, his first. Cobb kicks it over. Tyler open, 3-ball in the corner is good! 39-23, Homewood-Flossmoor lead. Their biggest of the game. Bryce Hurd and Carson Brownfield loving that. They look up to the crowd with some big smiles on their faces, and they'll take those smiles into the huddle.
Yeah, they just really came out to play tonight, John. Just burying 3 after 3. Normal Community kind of shell-shocked right now, trying to find an answer.
And both these teams have been in some very big games this season. Both of them knew they were going to be very good and scheduled that way this season. Homewood-Flossmoor's played, they beat Marion Catholic, they beat Bloom twice, they beat Lincoln Way East twice, they beat Harvey Thornton twice, then they beat DePaul College Prep, who obviously just won this Class 3A title right before this, as well as Downers Grove North, Bolingbrook, and Curie. So they know what it takes to beat one of the best in the state because they are one of the best in the state. Same goes for Normal Community. They've beaten Rock Island and Moline twice. They beat DePaul, they beat Quincy, Kenwood, Richwoods. Obviously a Class 3A state semifinalist as well. So I'm sure that they're not phased right now, but they certainly need to wake up just a little bit here in this third quarter. Offense has been slow to come by since that first frame.
Yeah, it certainly has, and just looking for that big spark, and there's a basket right away for Roman.
And it's Braylon Roman gets a little floater in the paint to go. Roman's up to 9 points. They're one of their best shooters today. Brownfield crosses up Cleveland. Drow drives in, feeds it down low to McNeil. Kicks it back out to Bryce Hurd. 39-25. Vikings lead with 4:16 to go in the third quarter. Class 4A state title on the line. Tough look from Hurd is no good. Altered by Weber. McNeil the offensive board, but it's tipped back out into the hands of Braylon Roman. Normal Community ball. Roman feeds up to Newsom, driving in. Gets a shot off. Was looking to draw a foul, but did not. Rebound by Homewood-Flossmoor. Quickly up to Cobb. A reverse. Up and good by Johnny Cobb. And up and under from the senior guard.
That's a pretty move in transition. Showing that talent. Able to go up and under on Roman.
Ironman faces a 16-point deficit. Weber is still not scored for Community. That's been a big X factor in this one. Roman gives it back to Connor Smith. Right in front of us. Now it's Newsom back to Smith. Guarded tightly by Jaden Tyler, the scrappy 5'9" guard. Weber kicks it over to Cleveland, who soars in for a monster dunk. Oh my!
Almost jumped over McNeil there.
And Normal Community needed that. Even though it's just 2 points, gets their team right back in it. Cobb, though, was wide open for 3 and missed it. Weber brings it in. Chance for the Ironmen to cut into the deficit just a bit more. It's Roman kicking back over to Newsom in the corner. Goes up top. Smith, his 3-ball on the way. Just a bit too short. We get a foul on the rebound. It goes on Homewood-Flossmoor. I believe it was the 6'6" Jacoby McNeil. That's the second team foul of the third quarter for the Vikings. Neither team has been in the bonus or really came close to being in the bonus so far today. John, as we get our immediate timeout, but Community doesn't have to get it all back at one point, but you like to get it down to maybe 8 or 10 by the time this third quarter ends.
Yeah, if you could just chip away here and there, like you said, John, you don't have to get it all at once, but you obviously want to play your way back into this game. I think if you could cut it to 10 here within the next few, say 30 to 40 seconds, you're going to be feeling pretty confident.
And Cleveland, man, he came soaring in for that. Doug had some momentum, hung on the rim for a little bit because he just wanted to land safely. He had so much momentum going in there, and it almost looked like a dunk that his brother Zach used to throw down back in the day. We saw more than a couple of those on Clutch Sports Media.
Oh, he certainly have highlight reel dunks, and his brother Noah's definitely followed suit here with some two-handed throwdowns. Zach was more of a, in transition, one-handed windmill. We've seen him throw down a couple big ones, but yeah, definitely Normal Community within these last few seasons, they've had their fair share of highlight reel jams.
And in case you're not maybe a diehard fan or a close follower of Normal Community, they were really boosted by 2 players coming into them this year. They already were going to be good with Roman returning in, Jaheim Weber, a couple other guys as well. But yeah, Nico Newsom, he transferred from Bloomington, averaged nearly 20 a game for the Purple Raiders last year, and he has been big for them on both ends of the floor all season long. Hasn't been putting up those crazy point totals, but obviously on a team like Normal Community, there's going to be less points to go around, so he's been big, as has Noah Cleveland, who took a year off last year, just fell out of love with the game, he said. Just it wasn't really feeling basketball, but then before this year, he was like, you know what? I want to come back for my senior season. He has been dynamite for them this year, averaging 10.5 points per game, 6.5 boards, and a player that can really do it all.
Yeah, he certainly can, and obviously, like we said earlier in the broadcast, made the right choice of coming back.
Deep three ball from Roman is off the mark. Rebound. Walker fought for it. Into the hands. Back to Roman. Dribbling in. Back to Walker. Now Smith behind the arc. He dials up another three ball. That one goes around and no good. Weber's offensive board. He was fouled on it, and he'll shoot 2 free throws. So now with 2:39 to go in the third, Jaheim Weber has a chance to score his first points of the contest.
Yeah, the guy you'd want at the line right now, Weber, and a good free throw shooter for Normal Community.
And this is Normal Community's just their second trip to the line. 2 for 2 tonight. Weber misses his first. He's a 62% free throw shooter. Missed his first 3 yesterday, but then rebounded and made his last 3. Takes 2 dribbles, spins it, and shoots. Too strong. Weber goes 0 for 2 at the line, and he's still scoreless. 41-27 is the Homewood-Flossmoor lead with 2.5 to go. Hurd driving into the lane, and it's going to be a charge drawn on Weber. He was planted, and that's just a textbook job by the big fella.
Yeah, just able to use that size, plant his feet, take the charge.
And you could just tell, even, we couldn't see Hurd's face, but just the way he was driving, it looked like he wanted to go in for a big finish, whether it was a layup or a dunk, and I think Weber anticipated that as well and set the feet, drew the charge. A third of the third quarter on Homewood-Flossmoor. Here's Roman with it, feeding Weber in the paint, kicking back out to Connor Smith. Another 3 ball on the way. Smith have it. Cleveland, though, the offensive board and the putback. It's 41-29, Homewood-Flossmoor.
Just using that size to clean up the glass, and that's the type of points Normal Community is going to need.
And that's what's so dangerous about a community is even if you don't get the 3 ball to go, you got a lot of towers, a lot of big trees down there in the paint ready to clean up the mess, just like Cleveland did. Tyler kicks back out, and it's bounced off the back of Connor Smith. It'll stay with Homewood-Flossmoor. 41-29 to go. Under 2 minutes to play in quarter number 3. Ironman on a 4-0 run right now. Cobb inbounds it to the big fella, Mac Hagmaster. Almost had a screen for Hurd. Working on Noah Cleveland, and Cleveland fouled Hurd as he went up. Hurd is clamoring that it's a shooting foul, and it looked to me like it was, but they're going to say it was on the floor. So that's a common foul. It'll be Normal Community's third of the third quarter.
Yeah, not the call that he obviously liked, but it's the correct call there.
Shot on the way is good from Bryce Hurd. He has some words for the fans. He's saying, this is my game, this is my house, and he's knocked down another 3. Bryce Hurd's got 13 for the Vikings. Smith, another 3 ball, no good. Rebound by Roman. What do you know? Another offensive board, and he puts it back up and in. Ironmen are feasting off those second chance points.
And Roman just does a great job of those nifty post shots.
Cleveland blocked a shot by Hurd, but gets called for the foul. He can't believe it. And that's going to be Noah Cleveland's second. I thought it was his third, so he's not in foul trouble right now, but Hurd will shoot 2. That's a big shot by Hurd on the other end, and a big offensive board from Roman. Connor Smith has gotten a lot of open looks for Community. He shot 7 threes, but has only made 1 of them so far today. Vikings electing to leave him open. Hurd makes the first. He's up to 14. Jaden Tyler leads all scorers with 15. Brownfield's added 10 for the Vikings. Braylon Roman with 11. Cleveland with 10 for Normal Community. Hurd's second is good. He's got 15 on the game. It's back to a 15-point advantage. 46-31. 1:08 to go here from the State Farm Center. Here's Roman. Dials up a 3 ball and knocks it down and rattles home.
It's a big one there for Normal Community. Roman not going away.
Roman's been shooting the ball very well, and they might need more of that. Shot by Brownfield was too strong off the glass. Rebound by Hurd, and Community can't believe Hurd got the offensive board, got his shot blocked, but they whistle a foul on the call. And lots of boos raining down here on the State Farm Center. And again, tough one to swallow there for community. Again, didn't have the best look at it from our angle. It's on the far side from where we are, but Hurd will get 2 more at the line. That's going to be the 3rd on Cleveland. So back-to-back fouls. Cleveland on Hurd.
Just kind of living at the line right now.
Got to keep your composure if you're Normal Community, and I'm sure it's frustrating for Noah Cleveland. You know, he made 2 great defensive plays, but got whistled for 2 fouls. Hurd missed the second. 47-34, 45 seconds to go. Community can get it down to 10 with a 3 ball here. Roman sliced it into the paint. Ball rimmed out and no good. Weber, though, brings it in. Smith has it, penetrates, driving in, draws contact, and he gets the layup to go. 47-36, big layup from the junior guard off the bench.
Really nice take there from Smith. He's fired up after that one.
Gives a little 2 claps, trying to keep community in this game. Here's Brownfield backing down Newsom. His shot too strong. Hagemaster, second chance, no good, and we're going to get a foul on the floor. This one, though, is against Homewood-Flossmoor, and some cheers from the fans in orange.
I believe still 2 to give there, or 1 to put him back in the bonus.
Homewood-Flossmoor is in the bonus with 5 fouls on community, but this might be the last possession. Vikings have 4 fouls here in the 3rd quarter. Iron can get it down to below 10, John. We mentioned that was a goal of theirs, potentially, but still very much in this game. Here's Roman with it, working on Gianni Cobb. Cross-court pass to Smith. Another open 3 ball. That one nothing but net. Connor Smith. The drought's ended for the junior, and it's 47-39. Cobb, a buzzer beater 3 is short. Connor Smith gives Normal Community a big jolt of energy to end the 3rd quarter and cut the deficit to 8. 47-39, your score heading into the final quarter of the game.
And it's plays like that, John, that really put the momentum back in a team that's trailing's favor. It's those threes that get your fans fired up now, and Normal Community says, hey, there's some light at the end of the tunnel here.
Community's been playing really good around the glass. They've been grabbing almost every rebound so far. A couple offensive boards for Homewood-Flossmoor, but especially on the offensive glass, John, in that 3rd quarter, Community out-rebounded Homewood-Flossmoor only 12-10, but it felt like their boards they got were much bigger, and they led to 6 second chance points there in that 3rd frame. Both teams scored 16, so one last shot for Community to go in this 4th quarter, but after going down 16, it looked like, things might be looking kind of grim. Homewood-Flossmoor could run away with it.
Yeah, just when we thought, hey, Homewood-Flossmoor does have a chance to really pull away with this game, Normal Community, which they've shown all year, does not give up when they're trailing in games, and I don't think they're going to go down without a fight here, John, but, how big has Connor Smith been? He's really stepped up with some big shots.
Certainly, and, credit the resilience from Connor Smith. He went 1 for his first 7, made that tough layup in traffic, and then knocked down the open 3 ball. That was a pretty shot, too. Absolutely wet, as the youngins say. Nothing but net there. You almost heard the swish, even with our headsets on here. It's 47-39. Homewood-Flossmoor leads, and what a scene this is at the State Farm Center. And even if you don't have a rooted interest in this game, it's good to see Normal Community come back and make this a ball game heading into the 4th quarter. There's lots of energy in the farm right now.
Yeah, there certainly is. And I think it's going to come up with a big offensive effort. But the biggest thing for Community is trying to limit Bryce Hurd on defense. He has really dominated this game all throughout the first 3 quarters.
Hurd had 6 in that 3rd quarter, as did Jaden Tyler. Both of Tyler's makes came via the 3-pointer, and Hurd made 3 free throws in that 3rd frame as well. Vikings shooting 43%, Normal Community shooting 38%. Vikings have led for most of this one. There's lots of back and forth in that 1st quarter. Then the Vikings were able to kind of hold the lead that 2nd quarter. A little bit less scoring action in that 2nd quarter. It's 31-23 at the half. And it's still an 8-point game heading into the 4th quarter. And listen to these fans. They are really turning it up. Community student section jumping up and down. A couple of shirtless students in the Homewood-Flossmoor student section with the red body paints filling out Vikings. It'll be Homewood-Flossmoor ball to start the 4th. Here's Cobb. Nearly taken away. Good hands by Newsome. And Newsome's going to get whistled for the foul. That's his fourth right off the bat in the fourth quarter, John.
Yeah, not the foul you want to see if you're Coach Dave Witzig. One of your biggest contributors at the guard position now with his fourth.
So big on defense as well. And he's been playing an aggressive game on defense, but maybe at times a bit too aggressive there. As Newsome still in the game on the first possession of the fourth quarter, playing with 4 fouls. Connor Smith still in as well for Community. Here's Hurd, guarded by Roman at the top of the key. Dribbles, will get a screen from Hagemaster, drive it in on Weber, and Weber's going to get called for the foul. That will send Hurd to the stripe for 2 more.
Community just getting some fouls they don't want to see. Now Weber with his third. You have Cleveland has 3, and now Newsome with 4. You got to be really careful, John.
Community's had 12 fouls called on them. Homewood-Flossmoor's had 8. Hurd missed his last free throw, but makes that one. It's 48-39 with 7.5 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Hurd, the star junior, and leads a team that could make it back here next year, John. Lots of good juniors on this team, including Brownfield and Tyler. They'll graduate Cobb and Hagemaster, but lots of people still returning for the Vikings as Hurd knocks down his second.
Yeah, they'll definitely have another good team next season, some key players.
Normal Community more led by seniors. In fact, their entire starting lineup are all seniors. In the paint, Cleveland kicks out. Newsome's 3-ball on the wing is too strong. Cleveland trying to get the board. Tracked it well, but right back to the Vikings. It's Tyler to bring it up. 7:08 to go. Hands off to Bryce Hurd. At the top of the arc, gets it screened, dials up a 3-ball. That one's good! Big time shot from Bryce Hurd. That was a deep 2, actually. It's 51-39 Vikings. You're the under 7 to play now in the fourth.
How about Hurd just shining on the biggest stage right now, up to 20 points for the
Just
junior.
A big-time player. Newsome dribbling in the paint, but lost it. Had it taken away from him. Good defense by the Vikings. It's Tyler, guarded by Connor Smith. Very tightly, I may add. Back over to Hurd. Community, you want the ball out of Hurd's hands as much as possible. He is a playmaker and a shot creator. Creates his own there. Tough look, but was no good from the free throw line. Cleveland brought in the rebound, gives it over to Connor Smith, who brings it up the court, crosses the timeline. Now on the wing, feeding Weber, who's still scoreless today. Up and good. There's Weber's first bucket with 6:08 to go, and cuts it back to a 10-point game. And boy, John, if you would have told me that Jaheim Weber wouldn't score until the 6:08 in the fourth quarter, I would have called you a flaming hot liar.
Yeah, I didn't expect that either, John. He's been so dominant. Maybe that's the basket he needed right there to try to get to life, get some points on the board. But really, it's been the Bryce Hurd show for Homewood-Flossmoor. The Ironmen have not had an answer for the 6'6" junior guard.
Hurd's got 20 points today, 6 of 11 shooting, 3 of 4 behind the arc, 5 of 9 from the free throw line. He's also got 7 boards. That's a team high as well. Noah Cleveland's been doing some great work on the glass. He's got a double-double with 10 points and 10 boards today, so Cleveland may be a big X factor for Community down the stretch. You figure if someone's going to bring him out, at least making shots, it's probably going to be either Braylon Roman or Noah Cleveland. Maybe Nico Newsom knocks down a big 3 as well.
Yeah, you're obviously going to have to look to that one player to try to get you some points. And, you know, I think it's going to be Braylon Roman that's going to try to step up, score some points. Obviously, a couple of guys out there, you talk about that double-double for Cleveland with 3 fouls and Newsom with 4. You got to play tight defense, but try to keep your hands off. And
Newsom still on the court with 4 fouls. How about the trust from head coach Dave Witzig? Brownfield in some trouble, and head coach Jameer Dismukes for Homewood-Flossmoor calls a timeout, and probably a good one there because Brownfield is trapped in the coffin corner.
Yeah, right idea to call the timeout there, just try to reset. Almost forced a turnover there, the Ironmen did.
A little bit of a game reset here. It's 51-41 Homewood-Flossmoor. They've led for a majority of this game. They haven't, no fouls here in the fourth quarter. Normal Community has 2. Vikings have 4 timeouts left. Normal Community has 3. And the Ironmen have possession arrow. 5:58 to go here again in the fourth quarter. Glad you joined us on Clutch Sports Media for the final game high school basketball in the state of Illinois this season. Lots and lots of fans here and many Normal Community fans as well. John, how about Normal Community? They were able to sleep in their own beds last night, practice in their own gym. That's a very underrated aspect going into the state tournament. You don't have to stay in a hotel.
Yeah, kind of that home court advantage in a way. A team that only about an hour down the road.
Helps you stay in rhythm. Makes it feel like more like a normal game, although this state title game is anything but normal, but certainly building that routine and sticking to it helps. Here's Brownfield on the drive, kicks it back out to Bryce Hurd. Now back over to Jaden Tyler. Guarded by Roman. Tyler driving in, kicks it over to Brownfield, and he drives in the paint, gets a tough layup, looked to go off, but didn't get it to go. Roman tipped it up, and he comes away with it. Fast break here from Braylon Roman, slams it down with 2 hands. Braylon Roman gets the tip and finishes it off on the other end.
Talked about that player that needs to make a spark. Your senior guard and Roman, how about the steal and the two-handed flush?
Roman's length coming into play there. Cobb got fouled from behind. It looks like it may have been on Connor Smith as he was driving in towards the paint.
Smith's third as well, John.
Smith has played some big minutes off the bench. It looks like Dexter Niekamp will come back in for Community. Not a big scorer, Niekamp is, but a good glue guy, does a bit of everything. Very tough player. That's the word I use to describe him. Normal Community needs some toughness right now, trailing by 8, 5:04 to go here in the fourth. Triple team is Hurd, gets it over to Cobb. Near the timeline, sitting near the southeast corner of Illinois, the state outline at half court. Now it's Hagemaster at the top of the key. Back over to Hurd, guarded by Newsome, who's got to be careful playing with 4 fouls. Hurd gives it over back to Tyler. Some Community fans wanted a 5-second call. Back to Tyler, and he's just dribbling around right now. He's driving into the paint.
Trying to work some clock down. They know that they're playing against a couple players that have more than 3 fouls.
And fans don't like that. Vikings playing conservative here. Cobb on the drive and dribbles it back out. And it looks like Homewood-Flossmoor, John, might see what fans across the state would be dreading. That's holding the ball. Community's playing defense, but Tyler lost it.
Yeah, sometimes that'll make you pay.
It can make you pay. Now it's up to Newsome driving in. Drew some contact, and I don't know how there wasn't a foul call there. Ball's on the deck, and we're going to get tie up. It will go to Community. Newsome drew some contact. It was, at least either on my eyes deceived me or it wasn't enough to draw a foul. There will be a media timeout on the floor, or under 4 media timeout, 3:56 to go. It's Homewood-Flossmoor 51, Community 43, and John, I think Ironman really need a bucket here, not just to cut in the deficit, but to, make Homewood-Flossmoor maybe pick up the pace a little bit more, because we saw in that possession they're not afraid to, run some clock out here.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's going to be big here to get a basket if you're Community. Obviously, Homewood-Flossmoor, once they get the ball back, they want Community to come out and guard them. They know that Connor Smith has 3 fouls. Nico Newsome has 4 fouls. James Weber has 3 fouls. Noah Cleveland has 3 fouls. That's pretty much your starting 5 right there. So they know they can milk some clock. But I think it's going to be big for the Ironmen to come out here and get a quick bucket.
That last turnover was forced by Cleveland. Good defense. Then, again, to paint more of a picture, I know you guys can't see the action. Normal Community is playing defense. They're not just let Homewood-Flossmoor just dribble it out. They're playing defense, but, Vikings, they're kind of driving in and kind of turning back out, and it's kind of dribbling around, passing around. But like you said, John, if you turn it over, it could really hurt you because, you hold the ball for some time, and then, Normal Community, if they can go down and score a bucket on the other end, then it really works against the Vikings' favor. So I think for the case of everyone involved, I think we hope that we don't see much more, clock milking here in this fourth quarter. Just let the star players play. Just play this like a normal game.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the fans don't want that. See the team hold the ball, kind of run the clock out. But, Normal Community, like we said, it's going to come with a big shot right here. They got to score out of this timeout and put some pressure on Homewood-Flossmoor.
Roman's got 16 today for community. He's been their leading scorer by far here in Champaign. 35 combined between yesterday's semifinal and today. Normal community again, 32-5, looking for their first state title in program history. Homewood-Flossmoor, 32-4, the #1 ranked team in Class 4A, looking to make it 33-4 and win their first state title in program history as well. That'll be Niekamp to inbound for community. Looking for somebody, finds Weber, who drives in, and Weber traveled. Costly turnover there for the Ironman, and Weber just hasn't been able to get it going today. It looked like he was going to try and dribble in and had a little spin move, but he picked up his feet there and took 2 steps.
Yeah, just a tough turnover if you're Normal Community. Turning the ball over as soon as you got it back.
Now Marcus Russell back in the game for community on defense because of that foul trouble, and he will foul Gianni Cobb. That's 4 on community. 51-43 with 3:49 to go. Homewood-Flossmoor inbounds with Cobb. Looking to try and get to Hurd, but he gives it to Hagemaster, who now gives it back to Hurd. Newsom nearly picked his pocket from behind. Hurd nearly turned it over, but it goes back to Cobb, guarded tightly by Marcus Russell. Now he faces a trap. He gets back over to Hagemaster. Now Brownfield drives in, blocked by Weber. They're going to call a goaltend. Yeah, it's a goaltend there on Weber, and I think that was the right call, John. Ball was
almost down.
Yeah, hit the glass, and then Weber got a hand on it. The 6'10" center can block just about any shot the team puts up, especially near the rim, but I believe he's only had 1 block here today after having 6 yesterday. Here's Roman, Euro stepping in the lane, too strong. Weber tips it back out to Newsom, kicks it back out to Connor Smith. 3:20 to go, Ironman down by 10. Smith finds Cleveland on the right block, and a charge drawn by the Vikings.
And that's going to be his 4th.
Tough game for Noah Cleveland. 3 fouls that he has had have been really close calls here today.
Yeah, it's been a tough break for them, picking up some fouls in this game.
It's Cobb to cross half court. Russell again trying to take it away. Cobb drives in for the layup, but gets fouled. He'll shoot 2. And 10-point lead with 3 minutes to go, John. It doesn't look good for community, especially with Cobb at the line, but anything can still happen. You just need to make shots, and you need to force some turnovers. But now, again, no shot clock is really coming into play right now. And Cobb, though, misses his first.
So just going to hope that if you're Normal Community, you send it to the line, they miss. Kind of playing against the clock now, but community's got to find a basket.
Cobb makes the second. Vikings are 10 of 16 from the free throw line. Community is 2 of 4. Here's Roman with it. Approaching 3 minutes to go. Now knifes into the paint. Shot, and he got fouled. Homewood-Flossmoor nearly believe they got the stop there. But Roman will shoot 2. This will be his first trip to the stripe tonight. He's a 65% free throw shooter. And he's got 16 tonight. Trying to get this lead below, or deficit I should say, below 10. Makes the first. And it's 54-44. Weber comes out for community. He's got 3 fouls. Cleveland and Newsom have 4. And both of them are on the floor at the moment. Roman's second free throw is up and good. So Ironman have cut it down to 9. Russell checks back in for Connor Smith with 3:01 to play.
That's going to take a big effort here for Normal Community.
Still plenty of time though. Hurd double teamed. Nearly turns it over. He does. It was in the hands of Russell, but he turned it over back to Homewood-Flossmoor. Hurd was in some trouble. Russell got the steal, and there's an offensive foul the other way on Gianni Cobb. And look who drew the foul. It was Marcus Russell making 2 big plays back to back.
Yeah, you know, Russell with that big turnover, then obviously an errant pass that gave the ball back to Flossmoor, but he said, I'll make up for it. Takes the charge in transition. That's a player that doesn't get a whole lot of time on the floor, but makes the big plays.
How about the minutes that he just gave, or I should say seconds, he just gave Community. Gave it right back to Homewood-Flossmoor, but draws the charge. Now, here's Roman. Kicks over to Newsome. Being hounded by Cobb, who nearly took it away. Roman's three ball from the wing is well short and rebounded by Bryce Hurd. That was a deep look there from Roman. Now feeding Brownfield. His shot was no good. Got his own miss. Ball's fought forward. Hurd kicks back out to Cobb, and Homewood-Flossmoor will slow things down. 2:23 to go here. They lead by 9. Smith grabs Cobb's jersey. Weber nearly grabbed the miss off the layup. Brownfield, an offensive board, puts it up. No good, and Cleveland gets the miss for Community. What a sequence.
Just all over the boards.
Here come the Ironmans. It's Smith driving in with 2 minutes to play now. 54-45 Homewood-Flossmoor. It's Weber, double teamed. Shot, almost got it to go, but he'll shoot 2 at the line. Would have been a huge three-point play for Community.
And they have not made life easy on Jaheim Weber.
They have certainly not. Weber's only got 2 points today. He's 1 of 3 from the field and 0 of 2 from the line. 2 huge ones here to try and cut it to 7. First one is off the mark. Tough day continues for the man they call Jaheim the Dream. Russell comes back in for the Ironman, and Newsome comes out. 54-45 with 2 minutes even to play from the State Farm Center in Champaign. Can Weber cut it to 8? He cannot. Weber's 0 of 4 from the line today. And it's Viking basketball. Ironmen are going to need some turnovers here. Here's Cobb. Crosses half court, guarded by Russell. Cobb hands off to Hurd. Now the double team and take it back away. Cleveland and Smith defending Tyler, who drives in and dribbling it back out. Vikings are trying to play keep away. They're not trying to shoot right now. They're only just trying to shoot from the free throw line. If Community, they got to start fouling sooner or later. A minute and a half to go, down 54-45, and they will foul. It's Russell fouling Gianni Cobb. Not a bad foul there. Cobb 1 of 2 from the line today.
Yeah, going to just have to foul here. Send him to the line, John. You don't have time to waste.
Vikings fans come to their feet. They could be leading by double figures if Cobb can knock down at least 1 from the line. He misses the first. Cobb has been a clutch player this year, John. He's knocked down a game-winning shot against Thornton, and if I'm not mistaken, he also made another game-winning shot later in the year. That may have also been against Thornton as well, if I'm not mistaken. His second is good. 10-point lead, 55-45, 1:28 to go. It's Roman. Crossing half court, guarded tightly by Cobb.
Got to push it.
Cleveland hands back off to Roman, and Cobb's just draped on him like a blanket. Roman kicks back over to Cleveland. He's got to take that 3 and does, and makes it! Huge shot from Noah Cleveland. The senior keeps Normal Community in the game. It's 55-48. A minute 12 left to play, and that's why Noah Cleveland came back to Community, was to make big shots and help them out in situations like this.
Yeah, not over yet, but the time is not on their side right now. A minute 12 left. Got to get a defensive stop.
Cleveland is only a 22% three-point shooter, but got that one to go. Missed his first 3, knocked down his second. He's got 13 points and 10 boards and 4 fouls for Community. Nico Newsome's got 4 fouls as well, but still is not fouled out. Weber and Kyler Smith have 3. Looking at who you want to foul, John. You got Tyler, who is a 68% shooter and 3 of 3 today. Gianni Cobb's a 70% shooter and 2 of 4 from the line, but he just went there. You got Bryce Hurd, who's a 78% free throw shooter on the season and 5 for 9 tonight. Carson Brownfield is 1 of 2 today and 68% for the season. Mac Hagemaster, 33% on the season and has not gone tonight. I doubt they put the ball in the hands of Hagemaster. It will probably go to either Cobb or Hurd.
Yeah, I'm going to say either one. You got to foul whoever you can, probably. Try to get a quick steal. If not, you got to draw some contact and foul.
Homewood-Flossmoor led for 29 minutes of this game. Community's only led for 32 seconds. They're still clinging on to some life, though. The minute 12 to go. They bring the press. Cleveland will guard the inbound. Roman Now Tyler's in some trouble, gets it over to Brownfield, up to Hagemaster, nearly taken away. He was fouled on the floor by Russell. Good foul there. We mentioned you probably don't want to get the ball in the hands of Hagemaster, but what do you know? Vikings' worst free throw shooter is at the stripe for 2 with 1:06 to play.
He almost threw down a big dunk there. He's hanging on the rim before that foul was drawn.
Hagemaster today has just got 2 points and 2 boards, but he does all the dirty work for the Vikings. Bends his knees and knocks down the first free throw. Bryce Hurd puts both hands up in the air. Hagemaster gives him a little smile. How about Mac Hagemaster?
Sometimes percentages don't really matter when you're on the biggest stage. Get a little extra motivation.
Imagine the adrenaline coursing through this young man's veins right now. Hagemaster goes 2 of 2. Bryce Hurd is almost unbelievable. And he swished both of them as well. It's a 9-point deficit for Korea. 1 minute to play. It's Roman with the ball. Keeping out Smith. Claps for it. His 3-ball on the way. No good. Tyler brings in the miss after it was tipped around. And he gets past the double team. Up to Hagemaster. Blocked from behind by Weber. But Cobb up and under. Layup is good.
What a tough shot there.
That might
Cobb.
be the dagger. It's an 11-point lead for the Vikings with under a minute to play.
I think the fans feel it now, John.
It would take a miracle. Weber shot blocked by Hagemaster, but tipped back out to Cleveland. Connor Smith needs to get up a 3 and does. That one's no good. Into the hands of Tyler. Up to Hurd. In transition, he got fouled. He was about to throw down a dunk that you'd be able to hear across the state line. But that will likely do it. Homewood-Flossmoor leading 59-48 is going to win the 4A state title.
They're fired up. Hagemaster, big hug with his teammate Jaden Tyler. All smiles here for the Vikings.
How about the free throws from Hagemaster? The reverse layup on a wild sequence. Hagemaster got blocked, just absolutely swatted from behind by Jaheim Weber, but the ball got into the hands eventually of Johnny Cobb, who made a wild sort of up and under layup. And those 4 points have really helped put the nail in the coffin for Normal Community, who will take their second place finish in Class 4A. Starters coming out for Homewood-Flossmoor, and what a game they had. Bryce Hurd, a double-double with 20 points and 10 rebounds. He's at the stripe, Chesapeake at 21, and we're going to get some substitutions here for Normal Community, as we're going to get Trey Burdett into the game, as well as Mac Brennan. Trey Burdett into the game. As I mentioned earlier, Tyrion Darnell. Braden Orick is checked in for Normal Community. And Hurd will shoot his second free throw with 19.5 to go. Crowd on their feet. Hurd knocks down the second. 21-point game from the junior. He'll be back for another season. Here's Burdett with it from way downtown. Why not? Shot was no good. Offensive board brought in there. Now that will do it. Homewood-Flossmoor will dribble it out, and they are your Class 4A state champions. 60-48. Crown the Vikings. They take home the title in Champaign.
How about that? Homewood-Flossmoor.
Ecstasy for the team in red. The number 1 team in Class 4A takes care of business and defeats the Normal Community Ironmen 60-48. What a game, John, and what a performance by both teams, especially the Vikings, to just keep Normal Community at bay in that fourth quarter and make the plays needed to win that game.
And I think it really showed, right after tip-off, John, Homewood-Flossmoor did not slow down in this game one bit. They had the lead at halftime, and they continued to keep their foot on the gas. Just an unbelievable performance by the Vikings. Not only tonight to win the 4A state championship, but all season long, they barely fell out of that number 1 spot.
The number 1 spot in 4A was Normal Communities to start the season. High expectations were placed on the Ironmen. They lived up to them. They won 32 games. Took them some crazy bounces to get there. That sectional title win over Quincy. They come up just short in the 4A state title game. You can ring the Vikings. Give them their jewelry, 60-48. They get their first state title in program history. And their fans all on their feet, outnumbered a lot by Normal Community today. But they outnumbered the Ironmen on the scoreboard where it really mattered.
Yeah, they certainly did. And, you could see how fired up these guys are. And, how about the effort from Bryce Hurd tonight? 21 points, 10 rebounds. And then Gianni Cobb, just a huge game as well. But really the star shine for the Vikings tonight.
Bryce Hurd, the player that we had heard so much about, finishes 21 points, 10 rebounds. I'd undoubtedly say he's the game MVP today, but also really good games from Jaden Tyler, the junior guard. How about a pair of 3 juniors for Homewood-Flossmoor, leading them in scoring? They could be making it back here next year, John. Hurd with 21 and 10, Tyler with 15 on an efficient 4 of 6 shooting to go with 7 rebounds. Again, he stands at 5'9". And then Carson Brownfield adds 12 points and 7 boards as well for the victors, the Homewood-Flossmoor Vikings. Braylon Roman leads Normal Community with 18 points and 7 boards in his final high school game. Congrats to him and all the rest of Normal Community's seniors: Nico Newsome, Dexter Niekamp, Noah Cleveland, Mac Brennan, Jaheim Weber, and Terrion Darnell, all on fantastic high school careers. Not the result they wanted, John, but they are going to leave a legacy for the Ironmen.
Yeah, they certainly are. And, it always hurts coming up that one game short, but nothing to hang their heads on. This team had an unbelievable season, finishing the year at 32-6. They were undefeated in conference play as well. Just an all-around great performance from these seniors.
Homewood-Flossmoor led 31-23 at the half. They led 47-39 after 3. And they lead 60-48 at the end of this one. They outscored Community in the first, second, and fourth quarters. Third quarter was a 16-16 tie. So, John, there was a back and forth in the first quarter, but the rest of the game, it just really felt like it was the Vikings all along. And they finish it out as the state champions. The final stats: Homewood-Flossmoor shot 40%, 19-47 from the field, 8-14 from behind the arc. That three-point shooting really set the tone for them in the first half, 57% for them. 14 of 22 from the free throw line, 64%. Meanwhile, Community was 4 of 8 from the stripe. They were 6 of 24 from behind the three-point arc, and 19-54, 35% from the field. Teams tie the rebounding battle at 34 all. Community had 14 offensive boards, 10 bench points for them. Great bench contributions by Connor Smith and Marcus Russell, as well as Kobe Walker down the stretch for a Community that really helped him keep him in that game, and really encouraging signs to see for them.
Yeah, it was. And, guys that are going to be back next year, Connor Smith, Kobe Walker, but really, contributed big off the bench, especially when some of those starters were in foul trouble. It speaks volumes to some of these seniors, leaving some of that leadership down to these guys that are going to be seniors next year, and see if they can carry that torch.
Those juniors of Smith, Russell, and Walker, they had to wait their turn to be the big dogs with all of Normal Community's seniors, but they will be big dogs next year for Community. These Ironmen aren't going anywhere, and neither will Homewood-Flossmoor be as well. These two teams could rematch next year, John, for all that we know. But that is put a bow on the IHSA basketball season. Your state title winners from today: Winchester West Central in Class 1A, Chicago Phillips wins it in Class 2A, DePaul College Prep repeats as state champions in Class 3A after winning the 2A state title last year, and Homewood-Flossmoor takes it in Class 4A. What a season it's been. High school basketball, John, one of the best things just ever in the entire world. We love covering it, we love watching it, we love broadcasting it. I want to give a huge shout out to all of our incredible staff all season long, and all of our fellas today that helped make all of our coverage possible. Again, we'll have a game story coming after this on CSM Overtime, pictures and videos coming on social media. Shout out to Michael Savoy, Owen Dimful, Brock Angle, Ethan Genders, Kenny Clifton, AJ Hollins, Gavin Russell was here yesterday as well. And tears flow for Normal Community, and emotional scene for Braylon Roman. Nothing to hang his head about. A great career for him and the rest of the Army. It'll sting today, John, but they'll look back at this in a couple decades, and they'll never forget this, never forget the run and all the wins playing the state title game here in Champaign. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, there's going to be some tears. You know, it stings, but these guys, when they look back on it, like you said, John, there's a lot to be proud of. A lot of memories.
A lot of memories for us as well. That will officially do it for the Clutch Sports Media basketball season, and what a season it's been. Thank you to all of you all still listening and following along with us all season long, whether it be reading our stories, following along with us on social media, listening to our broadcast. A massive thank you to you as well. We hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday night, and thank you for tuning in to tonight's broadcast. Just minutes ago, Viva La Vida by Coldplay came across the speakers. The first words of that song, I used to rule the world. Well, tonight it was Homewood-Flossmoor. They rule the world, and they are Class 4A state champions, taking down Normal Community 60-48 from the State Farm Center in Champaign. For one last time, John Camosa, my broadcast partner, I'm Jonathan Michael saying so long for Clutch Sports Media. We will see you in the spring. Stay tuned to our social media coverage to where we'll be. Our broadcast and coverage will continue for baseball, softball, track, all the other sports, you name it. Don't go anywhere. We will be right here covering all the best that Central Illinois has to offer. One more time, your final score, Homewood-Flossmoor 60, Normal Community 48 from Champaign. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Hope you have a great rest of your Saturday, and we will see you soon on Clutch Sports Media.